Jack Harper had spent the last 5 years redefining what it meant to be both mother and father. Since his wife's passing, every morning started before sunrise, he prepping breakfast, ironing school uniforms, making lunch and ended long after his daughter Lily had fallen asleep, usually with Jack hunched over the kitchen table, planning out the next day of gig work, bills, and parenting logistics. He wasn't rich, far from it, but he was present, and to Lily, that mattered more than anything. That particular Wednesday began like any other, until Jack's rusted pickup truck choked to its mechanical death at the corner of Madison and 5th Avenue, a street where millionaires didn't walk, they floated. Jack cursed under his breath and stepped out, hoisting the hood, as suited professionals and influencers walked around him, annoyed that his old truck was ruining the aesthetic of their curated lives. Among them, in the back seat of a sleek black Rolls-Royce, sat Victoria Sterling, the tech billionaire known for revolutionizing eye medical diagnostics and for her icy demeanor. But Victoria was not staring at her phone like usual. Her eyes had landed on the man kneeling beside the old pickup and the little girl offering him a bottle of water and a smile. Her driver slowed at the red light. "That man," she said to her assistant, a woman no one dared interrupt, "find out who he is." By the next morning, Jack had returned to his usual shift at the hardware store when a well-dressed man in a blazer walked in asking for him by name. He handed Jack a card with nothing more than a logo, Sterling Group. Victoria wanted to meet. Jack sat awkwardly in the mansion's oversized leather chair. Victoria Sterling stood by the window, her back to him, framed by panoramic views of the city below. "I know this is unusual," she began, her tone clipped yet elegant, "but I saw something yesterday. You and your daughter, the way she looked at you, the way you looked at her." Jack said nothing. "My daughter, Emily," Victoria continued, turning to face him, "hasn't spoken in 18 months. She's awake, physically fine, but emotionally gone. Therapists, psychologists, energy healers, none of them could reach her. But something tells me you might." Jack blinked. "Me? You said something to Lily yesterday." She smiled like the world was made of magic. "I saw it." Jack shifted. "Ma'am, I'm just a dad, a guy trying to get by. I've never worked with kids like that." Victoria walked toward him, voice low but determined. "You're not like them. That's exactly why I need you, not as a therapist, as a father." Jack's brow furrowed. "Why would you trust a stranger with your daughter?" She gave him a look, one that revealed a depth of pain only a mother could understand. "Because I've run out of experts." Jack first met Emily that Friday afternoon in a garden so pristine it looked photoshopped in real life. Emily sat on a bench beneath a Japanese maple tree, sketching nothing in particular. Her eyes were hollow, her body still. Lily came with Jack that day, skipping along the path with a stuffed unicorn in one hand and a dandelion in the other. Emily didn't look up. Jack didn't push. He didn't try to fix her. He simply sat on the grass nearby with Lily, telling her story some true, some wildly exaggerated about when he was young and did things like wrestle raccoons or build go-karts out of shopping carts. Lily laughed, genuinely, loudly. For a second, a flicker of movement crossed Emily's eyes. Victoria watched from the balcony, glass of wine in hand, heart suspended. Days became weeks. Jack showed up every afternoon, never with a plan, only with presence. Sometimes with Lily, sometimes alone. He brought sidewalk chalk, bubbles, picture books. They played near Emily, never pressuring her, just being there. One day, Lily dropped her drawing. Emily reached down to pick it up. Their fingers touched. Jack saw it. He didn't say a word, but he smiled. Then came the breakthrough. It was a Sunday, storm clouds overhead, but the kids wanted to go out anyway. Jack brought a kite, the old kind made with real string and fabric. Emily watched as Lily tried to get it to fly and failed miserably. Jack laughed. "Come on, Lily, the wind's not gonna wait." Then, out of nowhere, Emily stood up. She walked over, took the kite, fixed the angle, ran. The kite soared. Victoria gasped. Jack blinked, stunned. "That was amazing, Emily." Emily looked back at him, for the first time, and smiled. Not a full one, but the kind that says, maybe I'm still here. After that day, The changes came like waves after a dam broke. Emily began humming songs when she thought no one was listening. She started responding to Lily with nods and gestures. Eventually, short sentences, then full conversations. Victoria couldn't believe it. She joined them more often in the garden, not as a billionaire, not as the CEO, but as a mother desperate to rebuild what she thought was lost. She watched Jack, and not just what he did, but how he did it, with patience, with gentleness, with an understanding that healing wasn't loud or dramatic. It was quiet, consistent, and she watched herself soften. One evening, Victoria called Jack into the study. "I don't know how to thank you," she said. "My daughter is laughing again, talking, creating. You gave her back to me." Jack shrugged. "I just gave her space. She did the rest." You did more. You reminded her of something. Love without conditions. There was a pause, one of those heavy silences filled with unspoken thoughts. Then Victoria said, "I'd like to offer you something, a position, at the Sterling Foundation, working with youth, helping kids like Emily. You have a gift, Jack." Jack was floored. He looked at his calloused hands. "I don't have the credentials." "You have more than credentials. You have heart. That can't be taught." He swallowed hard. "I'll think about it." As the months passed, Jack accepted the role. He worked with at-risk youth and children from fractured families, using the same gentle approach that had reached Emily. Emily, meanwhile, blossomed. She began painting again, something she hadn't done since her father's passing of the event that had triggered her withdrawal. One day, she showed Jack a portrait. It was of him, holding Lily, standing beneath the kite. In the corner of the image, a small version of Emily stood smiling. Jack choked up. This is beautiful." She looked at him and said, "You didn't save me, you saw me. That was enough." Victoria and Jack grew closer, not in the way tabloids fantasize, but in a quiet, real way. Shared dinners, late-night conversations about parenting, grief, and growth. Eventually, something deeper did blossom. It wasn't glamorous. It wasn't a fairy tale. It was two people with wounds, finding healing in shared understanding. And Lily? She had a new best friend, a big sister she never expected. 2 years later, Jack stood on a stage, addressing a room full of donors for the Sterling Foundation. Emily had just spoken about her journey from silence to joy. Jack looked around. "I never thought a broken-down truck would lead me here. I'm just a dad, a guy who loves his kid, but maybe that's enough. Maybe love really is the greatest miracle." The room stood and applauded. Victoria wiped a tear. Emily beamed. And Jack? He simply smiled, in knowing that sometimes, the most unbelievable things come from the simplest promises.